Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators. On social media platforms today, quality content often goes unnoticed. On Den, users get paid for the creation, evaluation, and curation of quality content. Content creators are rewarded based upon the engagement and reach of their post or comment. Content evaluators are rewarded based upon the speed and results of their predictions about which content will trend or go viral. Community owners are rewarded based on engagement within their community. On Den, quality content pays.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is the live DENDAO meeting for September 5th, 2025. I am the Emperor, the elected leader of the DAO. And joining us is Joe Dragon. Joe Rhodes,
Hello.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting today.
Yes.
We have on our agenda today, I got it there on the screen, we have current open governance votes, open Den support issues, rebranding Den.Social to DePlatform, and any open forum items to be discussed. You are welcome to join the meeting. You can go to the DENDAO Lair on Den.Social. There's a link right here, and you can click on that link to join the meeting. Camera is optional, so feel free to click on that link, and we'll bring you up during the open forum portion. And also, I think you can find that on YouTube here. I believe the link is in the YouTube under the video. So there's two different locations to click on that link and to join the meeting. Again, this is a meeting. This is not a podcast or any kind of news event or anything of that sort. It's this is a meeting for the DENDAO, for Den.Social. All right, Joe, having said all that, do you have anything to add before we click on the first item here?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. It's all good.
All right. Welcome everybody watching and future viewers who watch this after the fact. Current item is any open governance votes, and I'll click on here. I just refreshed this. I'll refresh this again. I don't believe there are any other open item events going on any of the layers. Last one was the themes for World Blockchain Roundtable for the month of September.
Right.
So that takes care of number one. Moving on to number two. This has been something that's been discussed the last few weeks, and then some. It has to do with the payouts on Den support.
Ask. I didn't get to ask. Sorry.
There was a comment, it's been a month since there were any payouts. I did look at them and I didn't realize this just happens to be my payouts here. July 16th, it stopped. I didn't realize it picked back up on 8, 28, 29, and 30th. When I just glanced at it, I thought it went all the way through August, but actually only 3 days in August were paid. So we have the second half of July and the last day of August the 31st up till today. So actually there were only 3 days that were paid out.
You mean paid out on the inside the payouts, not just the Ethereum side. Okay.
Gotcha. So
okay.
That is the first time that we've been talking about. And remember, as I mentioned in the meeting last week, and I mentioned it, going back to July, this has happened before. Either a link is broken or it's Ethereum fees that need to be paid. As we all know, there are 1,000 matter that are minted every day, and we all compete for that 1,000 matter. And then as how we compete is obviously by posting quality content, voting, tagging, etc. And when we vote or tag, and maybe we're early in this prediction market on a particular post, we're rewarded. We're rewarded energy, which then later translates into matter. That matter is then distributed. The 1,000 that are minted every day are distributed to all of those. The rewards, shall we say, are distributed. That functionality sometimes gets broken. Maybe we're not actually paying the Ethereum fees. Ethereum can be quite expensive sometimes, and or that Ethereum contract needs to be uploaded with some more Ethereum. Remember, secondly, when links are broken, it requires a dev to jump in and fix it. It's kind of like there's two things happening there. And I think, Joe, you'll be able to step in here in a second. But one is obviously there is no funding here on Den.Social at the current time. And that means we're short on resources. And the devs that we have in Dragonchain, unfortunately from the SEC case, has really taken that, Dragonchain has taken a hit. But those same devs have also been working on Dracaria, on Dragonchain, and some of the other items that are going on. And there's no resources. And so quite honestly, that's on all of our shoulders. That's every user on Den.Social's shoulders as well as mine, to bring in new users, more, surge, more attention. And with attention comes funding or comes people who might be willing to invest. And so it's all upon all of us, really. Yes, I get it. It's frustrating that, you're doing this effort. You're not seeing your matter being paid out. I will say this, it's in the smart contract. So once the links are fixed and that kind of thing, it's not a manual process. Am I correct, Joe? It's not a manual process that somebody has to go in and figure out who made what on what day. Correct?
Yeah, it's all on chain, so it'll walk through all of the individual actions and do what it would normally do. Yeah.
Exactly. So I do understand. I get it. People are frustrated. They're not seeing it. Wondering, what's up with Den? Is Den gone? Is it over with? Is it done and buried? No, it's not. It's still here. You can still log in. You can still post. The rewards eventually will get, those issues will get resolved and fixed, and we'll all see those payouts.
Yep.
So that's kind of the open support. Now there was one from Aladita. He's got a withdrawal of 12,000. It's locked. You're mentioning it here in there again, limited resources, but Joe, maybe you can mention that to the devs to look into that.
Yeah, they're looking right now. There's in a meeting, and then after that they'll look. So
okay, super. So having said that, that takes care of number 2, open support issues. Number 3 on our agenda, rebranding Den.Social to DePlatform. You know, I've talked about this for now weeks and weeks and weeks. And I've talked about it on, the DENDAO calls. And I've talked about it, and Joe's talked about it when the SEC case was won. Dragonchain, Joe made that big announcement, and that Den.Social was going to rebranding to DePlatform. Now, obviously, it's going to require votes from all of you folks on Den who have that lot, to the DENDAO lot, to be able to vote. But it's going to require a vote for all of us. But I'm going to be honest with everybody watching this. It's a little disappointing that this has been mentioned over and over and over, and there haven't been any comments on Den.Social and the DENDAO meetings, either before or after the calls, having some conversation, some open dialogue. What do you think about the name? What do you think about this concept? How should it be done? Should it not be done? And it's been crickets. It's been silent. The only concern seems to be, where's my matter? That's I kind of like and maybe it's a tough sell. I don't know. And maybe some of the users on Den just want to have fun and look at the images and the comments and read. I get it, and don't want to get involved in these kinds of, issues or matter. But it is, to be honest, it is frustrating, because I don't want this to be just a small handful of people making all of these decisions and these votes and marching down a way where then someone wakes up and says, oh, wait, what's this? What? Rebranding? What? Huh?
That's what's going to happen, though.
Yeah. It probably is. I was thinking that some people would have been mentioning this beforehand on some of the meetings, and it's something that I've been bringing up. So that is kind of the intro to something that's been in my mind about talking about this particular item on the agenda, item 3 on the agenda. Joe,
the one thing I have to tell you, so I do see that 6 days ago the mint function happened, and I'm gonna try to see if it was made by us or someone else. From that,
going back to the support items. I did see the minting it seemed like it had stopped and it came back.
And that was probably because it wasn't funded. I'm not certain. And I'm trying to look at the address, because anybody could call it, essentially. But no, it looks like it was this system called it, and it had gone for several. Well, it looks like 21 days, so 3 weeks without being called, because it's only called once a week. And the mint caused 21,000 to be created, and that was on August 30th. So that was the last there. We'll hear from the dev, see what it looks like as to why the payouts haven't been going for sure. So
that's where I think this is kind of where you're looking right here, where it says, and I brought this up in the different meetings where method mint right here, I sorted the different mints and the date, and 7,000 because it's 1,000 a day, and here's 14,000.
And we used to call it every night, but then when Ethereum got too expensive, we converted it. There was a vote for it, but we essentially called it once a week. And we had enough matter that we could essentially cover for the week span, and it's been fine. We could call it once a month if it made sense, if we wanted to, but the problem is something else on the inside. It's probably just hitting a bug or something changed, and
we'll probably need to make sure too that there has been enough that have been minted in those days ahead or prior to. I'm just kind of scanning through it here, but
I'd have to look at the withdrawal address to see how much, but I haven't heard anything about that being a problem. So I assume there's enough in there.
And by the way, if for anyone watching, looking at this, I have opened the Etherscan for the smart contract for Den.Social, or the token Matter, and the transfers, and it's sorted by mint right now. And so anyone can go here and take a look at that. And you can see right now, currently the total max supply of Matter is 2,026,000. So it's very, very few. You see all these meme coins in the billions and trillions of tokens and this kind of thing. And talk about scarcity.
Started from zero.
Yeah.
Started from 0, 1,000 a day. And I can't remember how many. This was 1,100 years or something like that. There's enough to go. And I don't know. I guess what's next? We talk about the.
So yeah, like you heard me have my kind of quick conversation about. I would like the community to have some input here, and I just haven't seen it and been asking for it.
No feedback anyway. It might be that we need to put that, get the white paper finalized, or at least even to a beta, some final beta, and then put it out so people can I guess answer, right? So
right. That was the items here that I wanted to bring up, in the meeting real quick. And Zach, Legacy Zach asks, how do the payouts actually work? Just curious.
Right. So the Matter token is on Ethereum, and it's a very interesting system that it mints 1,000 a day, and it just mints them into the multi-sig wallet, and because this was written many years ago, we didn't want to just mint them straight into we could change that probably. I think we can change the direct, but where it could mint it into the hot wallet for people to withdraw, right? But either way, it mints them 1,000 a day, and anybody can call that mint function. So if we don't get it called, then you could call it. You just have to pay the Ethereum fee, and I don't think it's too expensive either, because it's just doing the creating 1,000 tokens. But then the Den system itself, which is on Dragonchain, walks through all of the content and all of the markets, all the prediction markets, all the tagging. There are pools for, you'd have to look at the white paper, but there are several pools for different behaviors where you compete for a certain amount every day, 5% of those 1,000. And essentially, and you can look again, some of the complexity is in the individual behaviors that you need to, for example, if you are evaluating a post, you are rewarded more heavily the sooner you give a response, and it goes by the hour. So in the first hour, whoever voted in that first hour, if the evaluation criteria, if the wisdom of the crowd is in the direction that they voted, then they stand to get the most impact, and it's multiplied then also by how much energy they put in. So it's, I'm going to put a whole bunch of energy at risk as early as possible to evaluate this content, and I'll get the biggest piece of that market, as well as there are pools that also will reward you for the up versus down vote. Like there is a specific pool for people to find bad content and vote it down as early as possible, right? So it's really interesting stuff. And so it goes through all that stuff, and it apportions all of that 1,000 Matter out into the entire community as the behaviors warrant. And there you go.
Yep. And if you want to dive deeper into that and see the mechanics of it, you can, or go to, or more simplified overview too, you come over here at the bottom, click on settings, you get this menu, you can click on DIN FAQ, and right here, Matter, what is Matter, how do I earn Matter, and you click on that, and it explains all the kind of, in generalities what it is. And then, of course, then the deeper dive is if you click on settings and go into the white paper. So there we have it. Joe, while you're here, again, I'm grateful that you are. Is there anything that you would like to mention in the meeting on number 3 before we go to open forum? On the rebranding.
I mean, it's really exciting, and we probably just need to get the details out because probably a lot of people might not even know where to start. In communicating. Oh, what about X or Y? I could see. I could assume a few things, but at the same time, I think maybe if we get the paper together, then we can kind of judge who gets excited about it and who hates it, and who who wants to help, that type of thing. Right.
And last week I talked about maybe moving away from a little bit more away from, shall we say, focusing on free speech and those who have been deplatformed, hence the name, because of things that they've said or posted, and maybe moved more towards highlighting, instead of that area, or towards that crowd, maybe highlighting the idea and the concept of, just like everyone's concerned about Matter, about the layers becoming channels, and it's video and channels just like you see on YouTube. And now it would be ownership, it would be shared ownership in the channel, and maybe that would be the better focus. It's a wider market, obviously, and so I talked about that in the meeting last week. That's probably a smarter move. You get the cat videos, and I love cat videos, of just videos of all sorts. You get the cat videos, as well as you have the people who want to talk about, my free speech on talking about black cats was banned. I want a place to talk about black cats.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, it makes sense, and I think we can still carry the free speech as part of the core, where I think we do have that. We have the transparency. It's all on, everything's on chain. We still do have some of those design concepts that if ever let's say a community was facing some type of censorship in some area, there would be ways, because it's on chain, for them to address that, and where we could help them, where we could say, okay, we could make this new API available so you could host it somewhere else and it will still work, and it'll all be fine. So we could do stuff like that. And especially when we're talking about the video, there are some ways to do that. And I've talked to some of the prospective partners for it, and they understand that as well. So it all makes sense. But I do think in the end, it becomes much easier for people to understand, and for normal people to understand how they would care about these layers becoming channels, and and new channels coming into being, where it becomes something that's pretty obvious, where we now would have a liquid market of the ownership tokens, and we already have a partner to do all that stuff. So it would just be very obvious to a lot of people who don't understand Den right now, or don't hey, why do I I already have this or this or this, why do I need Den?
Right.
That it would be something that you can't get elsewhere, and that would be the fact that you can own your own channel, or you can own part of a channel that you really believe in, which is what we can already do, but it would have then video, and we wouldn't get rid of the non-video posting either. So
exactly.
It would still be there, but it would just be a little more native feel. So
think of it, for those who are watching or come back and watch it, kind of the best way to describe the difference that we're proposing. In YouTube, the individual who owns the channel essentially owns 100% of the channel, and can't bring in shareholders or
Well,
can't tokenize a channel and have shared ownership per
yeah,
se.
it's like
Technically, they could on paper with a legal document,
and
and
if they get, and you know, a lot of them do that, but
right,
they have to get to a certain threshold, and then half the time, you know, most of the big channels are not actually owned by the channel owners. They're owned by some, you know, some cartel, essentially, some entertainment thing
right,
that, you know, they own those channels, and you know, I'm sure the person makes money, but they definitely don't make the billions that YouTube does.
right,
Um, and with this, that would be possible because they would actually own it,
yes,
and more, their community will own it. So that's the beauty of it, where instead of it being, you know, some guys in a back room smoking cigars, and you know, here I'm, you know, I'm talking to you, my community, it would be me and the community owning it, which is a totally different monster and a lot more attractive, a lot more real, a lot more what, you know, whenever I've talked to anyone about this, including non-technical people, including like say marketing people,
hmm
they get it before I finish. They're like, "Oh my God, that's what's needed." You know, they're like,
yeah,
that is
yeah,
what you would think that we should already have." And yeah, so
right,
pretty cool.
and because I think those people who are already on DIN, they'll get it right away. You
Yeah.
know, like, oh, okay, so I own a part of a layer, and that layer generates matter tokens for me every day.
Yep.
You know, based
Yep.
off how much activity is within happening within that
Yep.
layer. And
And
now you could have ownership, those layers become channels, but they're video channels. And now by participating in those channels, you would earn, matter, shall we say, or channel tokens for that particular channel,
yeah,
like layer
and that's
tokens as well.
probably, hopefully it's okay covering that without selling everything, because I'm a little bit anxious about telling people because they might freak out about it. But
Hmm.
essentially, the difference would be that you would earn channel tokens in place of matter, and the
Right.
channel tokens would also be in place of lore. So essentially, these channel tokens become it all. Um,
But
there
this
would
hasn't all
also,
been worked out yet either.
right,
We
there
haven't
would
we
also be,
haven't worked it out. This is kind of
yeah,
like design conversation
yeah,
right
and
now.
that's why I'm
It's
okay saying
perfect
it.
for the meeting.
If somebody
Hmm.
wants to get feedback on it, we can, you know, we can go there. But that there will also be the platform tokens, which is the current DENDAO tokens, which would then also expand. So people, particularly channel owners, but pretty much everybody, could then in some ways compete as well to earn those. And you'd be able to go and buy them too, for that matter, because they would
Right.
be liquid. And the biggest difference would be that there would be, you know, liquid markets for those channel tokens. And we're, you know, we're hoping, and there are a bunch of different ways to do this, but we are going to work in some level of subscription based offering where you can come in and it's free like it is now,
Mhm.
but hopefully there will be some valuable things that you can add both in competitive, but also in a way that you know, maybe gives you some exclusive type of features where you can pay a certain amount, small or large, monthly, because essentially that revenue is going to be key to fixing, you know, the issue with the, you know, the token itself, where people have to sell it, and if they have to sell it, why am I holding it? I better race to sell it too, and that's not a good model. But that's the way everything is in crypto. I mean, almost everything that has any utility in crypto has that issue. And we have a really interesting model that will take the revenue and give, well, maybe get into all the details of how it works, but will give you the ability to compete for that revenue. So,
Right.
you know, some of the revenue will go into operational costs. We have to pay for hosting and pay for stuff like, which is
Right.
right now coming out of my pocket, right? But it'll be pay for some of that, which is not very expensive. And then, you know, the rest of it will go to the token holders, but
Mhm.
you won't, it's not because it's not a security. It's not, I mean, and I don't want to get into the illegal side. I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
But it is essentially, uh, you know, you will not be rewarded for holding a token. You will have to do something And
Right.
when you do something, and you can choose not to, you can say, hey, and it's essentially burning that token is what we're talking
Right.
about, where to compete for the revenue this cycle, you would have to burn some channel tokens, and those channel tokens will have different values based upon the engagement of each channel. And so you're going to want the more engaging, more powerful channel tokens for sure. And you will burn some and you will get a share of the revenue. And that's how we'll do all of that. And it'll be very interesting because the if we do that, then the holders say, well, this is great. It's becoming more scarce. And the
Right.
people who need to pay rent, they're like, hey, I can get my money and I'm not going and dumping a token, right? So
Right.
it's a beautiful thing. So revenue is going to be a key part of it. And there, frankly, there is some really interesting stuff in the cultural side of it, including, like, say, the smart constitution. I mean, that's, I guess, more than cultural. It
Yeah.
contains
Mhm.
culture, but it's a very big advancement in the technology. But then also, the cultural side, the paid subscribers will be citizens, and we'll do this whole thing. You'll kind of see in there. But anyway,
Right. But again, I think for those here on Den can really understand, before, you participate in that LCP process, so creating a layer, and then however many tokens were, allocated towards that layer, the layer was capped. Let's say it was 100,000 tokens for that
yep,
layer. They became lot tokens,
yep,
and it's capped at 100,000. That's it.
yep,
And so no matter how you act, how active you were in the layer, yes, it would translate maybe into earning matter, but it wouldn't translate into earning more lot tokens within that layer.
right,
So layers became inactive, and there was nobody to post new votes and new things of this type of thing.
yep,
Whereas in what we're proposing or talking about, putting it onto a white paper for everyone to vote in, is the idea that a channel would grow in its tokens, um, based on its participation, this kind of thing. So someone could walk in, new to the platform, never had anything before, and start earning tokens within a layer, or in this case, a channel.
yep,
You can't do that on YouTube. You can't do that on Rumble. You can't do
right,
that on X.
yep,
Um, and this is something that I think is one of the problems, is that now the content creator on these, like, say, YouTube, now you become almost a business partner with that person, because you've invested time in commenting and upvoting and subscribing and these kinds of things, but you're not rewarded for it on YouTube. Where
right,
here you would have the content creator and those who are watching almost become partners,
yeah,
and encouraging even better quality. And it, rather than just a button that you click, oh, I'm going to subscribe to this person's channel, now it's taking it to the next level, and
yep,
that's not done anywhere.
right. And we have some partners that we think that can get us there faster. Like the tokenization partner is Dex.Finance in Europe, because they already have everything, all the regulatory stuff defined, worked out, and standardized, and they already have the platform, and they already have the liquidity pools,
Mhm.
all the coding done. It's all running on Dragonchain also, so integration would be very, very straightforward. We also have a couple. Well, we have one particular for the streaming, because we were looking at doing something that we know will work, but we've not tested it enough to know how well it will work, right? Or
Mhm.
how, can we do it live and all the rest of that. So this group we know can do scaled, and the integration might be kind of, it might be relatively simple and straightforward, even if the first phase is not exactly how we want it, but it'll still run. Okay, you can
Right.
have native video inside a post, and we just have to figure out a couple little integration points. And I need to get back with them, but it's all possible. We just I guess next step probably is get the white paper to a draft, leave any open questions documented, say, hey, here are a couple of options we need to vote on, that type of thing, and then just put it out and see what we get back.
Yep.
All right. So.
All right.
I do have an answer about the support issue. So the task service had failed. It just needed restarting. And it was, I don't know how it had failed. So he probably fixed whatever had failed on it. But he said we should get the payouts today. They'll run at whatever time they run. I can't remember if it's midnight. It might be midnight UTC. So it might be, I don't know. I can't remember what midnight UTC. What time is it right now? It's 7 hours. So it's 21. It's probably in 3 or 4 hours. I think that's right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So,
yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. If we don't, then we'll just remind me and we'll look again Monday, because maybe it'll fail the same way. Right.
Figure it out. But either way, it's fix the link or the task or that needs to happen, and it'll auto populate or run.
Right.
All right. Well, good. Outstanding update. Thank you. All right. I'm going to hit refresh, Joe, and we'll go into open forum here.
Yeah.
See if there's anything. And no, there are no comments. So I believe that concludes today's meeting, Joe, unless you have open forum items that you'd like to bring up.
Nope. That was, DePlatform would be the only thing really I have. So.
All right. Well, those watching or going to watch later, give us some feedback. We want to hear feedback on the concept of DePlatform.
Yes.
And more's coming in the days and weeks ahead. All right. I think that concludes the meeting then, Joe. I'm going to go ahead and let's go with Enter the Dragon to take us out by Y'all Weird. And this time format seems to be working for me. Which is Friday afternoons.
It's hard for me because I usually end up getting last week I meant to be here, but I was in code and I looked up and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but well, when you're in the zone in code, you guys stick with it. So I get you. Well, if it's a different time that works, let's talk about it.
This should be good if I just set an alarm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then it will more than likely be next week, Friday. I don't believe I'm going out of town.
Right on.
So, all right. Here's our Enter the Dragon. Thank you, everybody.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best. Adaptable, raw capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now?